Cody will cover all things Web3 and NFT related as well. So let's go over first things first. Obviously, Ethereum is the biggest headliner of the week. And what caused the big pump on Ethereum? So basically, what happened was that there was a rush filing to file of what's called the 19B-4, which just basically means that form has to be filled out whenever there's a certain maybe like change of rules or a change of filing. And what's great about that is once that's filed, the SEC actually has up to 90 days to make either the approval or the what's the word I'm looking for, or basically like the no, right? So now, just because they have 90 days to basically approve the rule or decline the rule doesn't mean that means in 90 days they're going to approve the ETF. It just means that there has been a change of like rules, or the SEC needs them to change something, usually to kind of move it forward, right? And again, I don't want to speak too early, but it's usually a very good indicator of that things are moving forward. And I dropped a photo in the general chat about a half hour ago of the two that have to update, and there's actually one more. But the main ones are the VanEck and the ARK. So their deadlines to basically file this 19B is on May 23rd and May 24th. So just right around the corner, right? We're just about 2 days away. So it looks like they need them to submit a couple of changes for them to kind of go forward, which is a great sign in terms of the ETF getting approved. And that's what made the big pump, right? I almost said ETF. ETH pumped just about 21% on this news, right up to that 3740 and that 3840 level, right? 3,740, 3,840. As you guys can see on my screen right now, that's literally where that pocket kind of stalled out and the movement stalled out, because that's the next big area of supply. So before that, it was the 2,740 and the 2,840 level that played such a key importance. So let's just take a peek here on my ETH chart right here, where this blue line is right here. And props to Eduardo for kind of saying, hey, we should really watch this area because price action can reverse to the upside. And he was very correct on that. If you guys go on the Ethereum channel and just kind of go back through the years, go back to the last few weeks, there's been several times where we talk about the 2,740 and the 2,840 level. So below 2,740, ETH is a short. Above 2,840, ETH is a long. And that's always been a note and a level that we emphasized on Ethereum many times. And we don't have the channel anymore, but we used to have a channel called BTC and ETH. And I basically did one long video and one basically long section of the price levels and the analysis on Bitcoin and Ethereum. But instead, what we've done now is we've actually broken those channels up to two. But way back then as well, in 2021 run, we talked about so many times how important 2840 is. And you guys can see it here on my left side, right? The only time we broke under 2840 was super quick for one day, and it lasted a very short amount of time. And the low went to 2,814, which kind of sucks because I actually have had a baller ETH long leverage trade that I got stopped out. I lost like 30 grand on it. Fucking sucked. But it literally stopped out by like 26 bucks because my stop loss was right under 2840. It was like 2,835 and we hit 2,814. But you know what? Risk management is king, and that's just what happened. But you can see Buyers stepped in at 2,840 since early April, since April 13th, right? And that price action really never broke and still hasn't broken, right? And now we've reached the change of character, meaning that we've overcame the higher low situation, right? Which means that we broke through this area here, we broke through this area here, and now we're actually trading above a little higher. So now this has started the change of character, which is great. But the pump was super, super quick. And something else that fueled the flame to the pump, if you guys listened on what I was saying in the Ethereum videos, um, two of the analysts for Bloomberg, and the picture I sent you guys is a Bloomberg terminal, but two of the analysts from Bloomberg, they basically like upgraded, quote unquote, upgraded Ethereum. So what I mean by that is in the stock market, there is upgrades, downgrades, and maintains. So if you look on the stock floor every morning, actually, one of our bots sends an updated list every single day of those stocks being either upgraded, downgraded, or kind of maintains weight. And there's also overweight, underweight, but it's not really necessary to talk about right now. So sometimes when the analyst will upgrade a certain asset, it kind of tends to that asset pumping up, right? And that's pretty similar to what happened with the analysts with the Ethereum ETF, right? They basically said, you know what, the Ethereum ETF probably has about a 20 to 25% chance to get approved. Well, right before the spike news, right, when all this happened with the 19B filing, this and that, it was basically fueled by the Bloomberg analyst saying, hey, we're now upgrading that projection from 20 to 25% up to 70 to 75% chance that the Ethereum ETF gets approved, right? So that's good news, right? It's good news and it's not good news, because the more and more of assets that become ETFs, the crypto market's going to trade a lot more like securities, because it is going to be a security, and that just means it's going to be like a whole new stock market soon, right? So what does that mean? That means we really need to take advantage of the next 1 to 2 years, because that's really going to be that prime time for us to get in crazy early and be crazy active. And I always tell people getting into the crypto market is basically our generations, well, for my generations and the younger generations, chance to get into some of these companies like the Googles, the Microsoft, the Teslas, the Nvidias of the world, right? But on the crypto side of things, right? So like what are some of our favorite companies when it comes to the crypto, right? Just off the top of the head is like Matic, Gala, Ondo, right? Those are all like going to be the next quote unquote Googles and Microsofts and Teslas, right? And that's just in a very broad sense of it. So I think we're truly in that moment where we have 1 to 2 years to seriously get so far ahead of the rest of the world that if we do it right, we should be set up for the rest of our lives going forward. Especially for the folks who were in their 20s and their 30s and young 40s, right? You really take advantage of this next 2 years. And then after that, just stay consistent with the market for another 8 years. So like a 10-year time frame, right? We'll all be the big whales of the crypto market in a sense, right? We'll all have portfolios and we'll all have those stories like, if you put $10,000 in Monster energy drink, well, when it first came out, it's worth like a million something. Or if you put $10,000 in Apple when it first came out, it's worth like a few million, this and that, right? So that's the mindset that I want us to have going into all this ETF stuff, because we are going to start to see more and more, smart money and more of institutional money getting into the crypto market. So really focus on that long-term channel that we post in the crypto floor, and just really focus on some of the best projects that you can, right? So let's dive into one of my favorite projects, right? Gala. Big exploit yesterday. Everything else was pumping, and Gala kind of got shot. I think it was Alien in the chat who's like, Gala just got shot. What happened? So here's what happened with the Gala exploit. So someone was able to make about 5 billion Gala tokens, but they were put to a halt like within the first 45 minutes to an hour. So they made 5 billion tokens worth $200 million, but they were only able to sell, they were only able to sell 600 million of those tokens for a value of 21 million. Now, I need to double fact check this, but the story is that the hacker returned the funds to the Gala wallet. And there was a post about it as well from one of the advisors of Gala with the Ethereum post, and showed it. And basically 5,914 ETH or $22 million got sent back to the hacked wallet. So basically we've returned back to Gala. That I still need to verify. And then they burned 4.4 billion tokens. So they burned every other token that was basically made and inflated. So that caused Gala to dip like 20% almost instantly, but now it's just right back to where it was and right where it dipped from. So nothing really too crazy happened, which of course an exploit always sucks, right? But the biggest companies in the world gets hacked, right? So I don't think we should cross Gala off the list just because something like that happened. And I was pretty impressed with the way that their team handled everything online and on social media, and were immediately posting about it happening, right? The CEO immediately posted as well, and kind of wrote down all the facts of what happened, how they hacked it, and so on and so forth. So they were able, again, I need to verify, but they were able to actually get the funds back. So I'm curious if the hacker maybe got scared, got nervous, because all over the Gala social media, they were saying, hey, if we're already working with the DOJ and the FBI to kind of find out who did this, right? And you guys probably know, or if you guys like watch Netflix, you've been seeing how many more of these hackers and scams have been getting caught, right? Because these are financial crimes at the end of the day, and you're starting to see these people get punished. So, I don't know about you guys, but if no amount of money in the world is worth even a year in prison for me, like it doesn't matter how much money. Well, maybe if you give me $1 billion, I'll do a year in prison. What's up?
And guys, let's not forget too, like, going back to what the CEO said, Gala is the backbone for a lot of projects when it comes to hosting,
Correct.
web hosting or like node hosting. And that just doesn't go away. So yeah, exploits happen all the time, like Arthur was saying. And we definitely shouldn't be writing Gala off. It's a solid company, and I'm going to continue to invest in them. But yeah, I just
Yeah,
wanted to make sure
that's
you guys are
actually
aware of that.
a great point, right? And if you guys were on that live that we did with the Gala Games president, right, he was kind of showing and explaining to you guys how Gala does handle a lot of the ecosystem in the crypto world, especially on the Ethereum chain, right? A lot of their nodes help process stuff. So again, huge company that's always actively working. You guys have seen my comments about Gala in the long-term channel, right? We love a company that builds it in the bear. Stock Unlocked has always been a company that is built in the bear and continues to build in bear or bull. It doesn't matter, right? We'll always continue to build. And that's why I love Gala so much, is they continue to build. And I think this was their first like actual hack. So let's not cross them off the list. We'll continue to investigate the story and reach out to our sources over at Gala to just see what's going on and get some more detail. Those would be the two biggest news things that happened in the crypto market. I do want to go over some charts just so we don't FOMO, because if we FOMO, it's going to end up very, very badly, right? We saw all the big pumps, right? I saw so many of my favorite coins move 10 to 20%. I was like, damn, We didn't get it, and that's okay. Because when you have a big move like this, right, if the momentum doesn't continue, which we can see on an hourly chart a little bit more broken down, starting to come down here a little bit. If we lose 3740, right, which we're barely testing right now, it's going to go down. If we lose the 3600, it's going to change the character to the downside. So if you watched the Ethereum video that I was talking about, something that I always look for, right, because it is very rare that you catch this candle, right? Extremely rare. And if you do see this candle, this wouldn't be the candle that you want to enter on until you get a pullback, even if that pullback is at a lot higher of a price, right? Because the risk is going to just be too risky, right? And what I mean by that is, so let's say I wait and 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 I wait, and this is the 34 EMA that continues to move up. Let me just change the color on it. So let's say this is the 34 EMA right here, right? Continuing off from where it is right now, right around here. What I always look for is the pullback first to the 34 EMA. Let me just change that back to white. Is I look for the pullback to the 34 EMA to make sure that we hold support here and get a bullish candle or bullish kicker. So then we can trade up back to the other targets and back to previous highs, right? And what I mean by is I'm okay with paying higher, and it's less risk if I actually pay higher. So if I'm buying the asset right here, let's say at 3,400 on Ethereum. If I'm buying Ethereum at 3,400 up here, but it's right next to my 34 EMA, the reason why my risk is still very low compared to buying, let's say, at 3,400, but the 34 EMA is still way down here, is because if I'm buying at 3,400, which is right, let's just say here, if I'm buying at 3,400 and the 34 EMA is still far below me, it leaves me at too much risk, right? It's almost 10% downside until I find out if that 34 EMA is going to hold. Whereas if I wait and I wait and I wait, and if I buy at 3,400 here, and then the 34 EMA has gradually moved up, then I'm limiting myself to about 3 to 4% risk instead of that 9 to 10% risk to the downside. So it's okay to buy the assets at a higher price if the support lines and the support moving averages are very close to it, because the downside risk is going to be a lot less. And that's the same story on Bitcoin. But it's actually not as drastic on Bitcoin compared to ETH. Oops. So it's the same story with the Bitcoin chart here. What I'm looking for again is the pullback to come back to retest the 34 EMA and then bring us up higher, right? So while we wait for Bitcoin and Ethereum to pull back, if we do want to trade those assets, right, there's still several other coins that are giving us good setups close to the 34 EMA, right? You guys all know we're in RNDR right now, right? Couldn't be a better of a setup. Just it's perfect. So the reason why I say that is because we got in way here, right around the 1050 mark, which was very close to the 34 EMA. And now we had a very beautiful bullish engulfing. Now we're trading above the 8 EMA right here, which is our T line, right? So very good formation with low risk, right? Because we bought at 1050 and the risk to the downside under the 34 EMA is about 8%, right? And RNDR is a more volatile asset. So 8, 20, 30% movements on this is pretty common. So what I'm looking for is the big breakout here on RNDR. And I'm just going to move my fibs up a little bit higher than I normally do, because lately I've just been rounding down a lot because I've been noticing the bull waves are a lot shorter in time. Not shorter in terms of how big the movement is, but just shorter in time. So because it is shorter in time, I've been using my Fibonacci's on a bit tighter of a scale just so I can round down. So what I'm looking for on our RNDR, Excuse me, it's like 10 p.m. here. What I'm looking for on RNDR is just the perfect blast strat situation, right? Price action. Let me just move my fib over to the left a little bit. Price action broke above the 34 EMA, right? And then price action came back to the 34 EMA. We have a bullish kicker, and now we're just going to do blast strat up to the upside and trade all the levels that are in the alert. There's no reason to go over all the alert targets when you guys have it. And what's nice about this setup here on RNDR, it's very similar to the setup we had on Pepe, right? The Pepe setup, which is trading at new highs. Check out the Pepe setup, right? Same kind of, almost the same structure, and I'm going to put them side by side just so you guys can see the structure actually. I'm a big fan of structure trading. When you see things all kind of looking like the same on the chart, they tend to do the same thing on the chart. So Pepe hit that 1-to-7 ratio on the money, and now it's going for the golden ratio, the 1.618. And then I'm expecting that same kind of explosive movement on RNDR, right? Great coin here. It's been very big this year with the narrative, with the network narrative. So I am seeing a big movement here on RNDR coming up, and that's why it's kind of really the only trade that I'm in. And then also Ondo, I really wanted us to talk about today as well, because I think it's the other very, very strong chart in the market. This is a crazy strong chart. If I can, oh crap, this is actually about to be an alert. I might have to send a live alert actually. Get a little itchy action.
Oh, we got a live alert. This doesn't happen often, guys. Live alert.
Yeah, hold on, guys. I need to drop a live alert ski. I'm going Ondo. Excuse me while I type. Ondo filling at 0.938. PT1 is going to be 1.04 for me. PT2 is going to be 1.08 for me. PT3, going to have to zoom out a little bit, get more macro on PT3. Give us some dollar sign, 1.17. Well, and we'll just make this a beautiful three-parter. Stop loss 0. So get those calculators ready, folks, and we'll trade this tight to 875. Okay. Cool. Ondo alerts out. So reason why I pushed out the alert is, one, we got a itchy Nissan happening on this 4 hour, and I've actually been waiting for this 4 hour chart to pull back and give us a bullish kicker candle right here. So I've actually literally been waiting for this. If you guys were watching what I was writing in the chat about Ondo, and Ondo is just poised to make, Jesus, these freaking hiccups. Ondo is it's poised to make a big movement to the upside. This is one of those bags that I really like in terms of just long-term spot buying, trading on leverage, but mainly long-term spot buying this for the long run. You guys have to realize Ondo has only been out since January. It's a brand new coin. It's been out since basically Jan, and a little bit before that pre-exchange, but brand new coin, about 5, maybe 6 months old. And it's went from trading at 10 cents to basically almost $1. And the narrative behind Ondo gets very strong when the ETF narrative is being spoke about in the market, because Ondo's entire kind of like market plan and the entire plan of Ondo is that they're buying RWIs or real world assets, mainly stocks, and they're buying those stocks, and then they're tokenizing it with their ETF. But I'm sorry, and they're tokenizing it with like Ondo. So they're basically using Ondo as the as kind of the as the crypto backbone to basically as kind of their own ETF, right? So like they're buying a certain amount of stocks, and by them buying those stocks, you're basically buying Ondo as the ETF for those stocks, just like every other ETF works. So like I said, when that ETF narrative gets very strong in the market, that's when Ondo really starts to move as well. And not only that, let's say we forget all narratives and we're just straight chart junkies. Ondo could not be better of a chart. I mean, Pierce, right? Like, look at this chart. It's beautiful, man. Is
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm in.
Yeah, let me see if ETH
Let's do
Wardo is
it.
actually up. No, ETH Wardo's not in the call. All good. Blaster, if Blaster wants to come up to speak, I'm just going to invite him up. Blast, don't worry about if you don't want to. I saw you were in the crowd. I just want to invite you up just in case. So Ondo is, again, the other strongest chart that I'm looking at. So RNDR and Ondo are my two favorite crypto charts out there right now. And they're just kind of outperforming the market. And in terms of setup, they look great. They have very low risk in my opinion. And there are some fantastic long-term spot buys if you guys are not leverage traders. Oh, I see we got some messages in the chat. Oh, never mind. So keep an eye out on the Ondo setup. I just set out the trade, and look, guys, we're pumping already on the trade. 946. Let's go. Way too early to tell, but so far so good, right? So far so good. Nice movement here. What else? Yeah. And the other thing too is the patience right now, guys. It's so important for us to be patient, because if anyone chased that ETH pump, if anyone chased the altcoins, you're probably getting wrecked right now today. So make sure we don't chase those, and make sure that we wait for the pullbacks to pull up. CFX is going to be another one that pops up on my list here soon. Great spot buys right now. Wouldn't leverage trade this at the moment, but fantastic spot buys on CFX, and right around the range that we were actually buying at. We were buying around 16 cents, 17 cents, and a few buys in the low 20 cents, and right now it's at 23 cents. So AVAX as well. AVAX is a goodie. Why is AVAX a goodie? We got a Thanos snap here on the daily chart. We got a Thanos snap here on the daily chart on AVAX. So what does that signify? Massive movement. What is a Thanos snap, guys? I have been seeing some confusion on what a Thanos snap is. You have to make sure that the body of the candle is completely covering every moving average. That means the 8, the 34, 89, the 144, and the 50, and the 200. So all 7 need to be covered by the body in the candle, but that implies a very big move coming. And I'm trying so hard to not FOMO, because AVAX is one of my favorite coins, actually, besides Ethereum. AVAX, I actually have my biggest altcoin holdings in AVAX. So I'm trying super hard to not FOMO into AVAX, because, right, like I was saying earlier with Bitcoin and ETH, I want to buy as close to the 34 as possible for the way that I like to trade. Or we can tune it down to about an hourly chart and do some shorter swing trades, possibly like a 1 or 2 day trade here using the hourly chart. But I really think AVAX is poised to make a very big move here soon. We don't see Thanos snaps too often on the daily charts, so we really love to see those, right? Check out this Thanos snap we had on Bitcoin that started the crazy ass rally. So way over here, this is why, if you guys were following me then in early 2023, I was getting so cocky about Bitcoin going up. I was like, yo, Bitcoin's about to go. So that's why I was so pumped. So great chart here on AVAX. Seeing a similar setup, and this weekly chart is just insane too. Like perfect setup here on the weekly. But by using the weekly, you do need a lot more range in your trade, right? Meaning if you're buying AVAX at $41, I personally think it's still a great buy. But you got to realize, hey, my stop loss is about a $12 range, $10 range, and that is okay if you're only risking, 3 to 5% of the account. So it won't matter if the asset does drop more than 6-7%. You're actually still only going to lose that 5% or whatever percentage is, if that's the way that you manage your risk, right? I know some people do, let's say, a set amount in each trade, like it's always $500 a trade, $500 a trade, $500 trade, or it's 5%, 5%, 5%. When you find a setup on a lower time frame. So Joy just asked, when you find a setup on a lower time frame, does that mean that it's going to be a shorter trade? And if it's a higher time frame, is it a longer swing trade? Yep, that's exactly correct, right? So we know that if it's an hourly chart, right, it'll last whatever it lasts. But we know if we go up to a 4-hour chart, that trade is going to take a lot longer most of the time, unless like something crazy is going on. Or on a daily chart or a weekly chart, the higher the time frame, the longer that trade will take, and the longer you have to wait for opportunities to come, right? Because you'll always see like a trade set up on a 5-minute or a 15-minute, but you'll have to wait a lot longer to see that same kind of trade set up on a 4-hour or daily. But that also gives you a lot more freedom in terms of not having to watch the screen, right? You see your trade. It's obviously not a day trade, so you don't need to be glued to the chart. You can just set your target, set your stop loss, and just kind of walk away. And the maintenance is just kind of checking the chart in the morning, checking the chart at night, and seeing if everything is still kind of going to plan. So yeah, there is definitely pros and cons to different time frames, right? You're very welcome. So if you're someone who is a little bit busier or gets kind of anxious in very fast trades, then I do recommend higher time frame charts. If you are just watching the chart and you do want to do a short-term trade, or you just want to jump into a trade before you go to the gym, then yeah, for sure go into the 5 to 15-minute chart time frames. I will say it is a little bit harder to trade in the shorter time frames, and there are more fake outs, right? I myself am a swing trader, whereas Blast is a freaking goat at day trades and can do like 6, 7, 8 day trades in one day. For me, that's just too fast for me personally. So it's all about adjusting what you know in trading, adjusting the strategies to fit your personality, right? So like how I was just saying, RNDR is doing a blast strat, right, on the daily chart. So you can use that blast strat daily chart, 4-hour chart, 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart, even a 1-second chart. But god dang, you're probably a freaking nutcase if you're trading on the 1-second chart. So yeah, great question actually. Other than that, those are my top favorite ones right now. So we got Ondo, we got RNDR, and then we got AVAX right now. And then for spot bags, CFX and Matic are still super cheap, I think. And that covers my crypto market segment. Let's talk about the stock market real quick. And Blast, if you have anything to add into that, please feel free to do so. The stock market is kicking in and booming. So let's look at the S&P 500, folks. Did we hit new highs today, or was it yesterday? Let me check. 431. So we hit new all-time highs on the S&P 500 yesterday. Today we are just about 0.03 cents away from new all-time highs. So guys, the S&P 500 is hitting new all-time highs. When the S&P 500 continues to rally and hits new highs, the rest of the market rallies. Usually the Magnificent Seven are rallying, right? And what are the Magnificent Seven? The Magnificent Seven. Oh crap! I actually deleted it because I already knew it in my head. So the Magnificent Seven is like your Microsoft, it's your Meta, it's your Amazon, it's your Apple, it's your Nvidia, it's your Tesla. I feel like I missed. Oh, and your Google. If I missed any, no, I think that was all of them. Yeah. So those are your Magnificent Seven. when the S&P 500 is rallying, right, the Magnificent Seven comprises about like 25% of all of it. So usually those rally too, and that's a good sign that the stock market is going to move up higher itself as a whole. And unless there's like a major catalyst, which I do think the ETF Ethereum is a catalyst movement, the crypto market tends to follow, right? And most of you guys have been here long enough to know that as well, because we've discussed it in lives before. But let's take a look at Microsoft. Microsoft hit new all-time highs today as well, and they're in the Magnificent Seven, right? So that's a great sign, right? I saw some of you folks trading Apple today. What's Apple doing here? Apple is not too far from all-time highs either, guys. We're only $7 away from all-time highs on Apple. That's crazy. Meta, sorry, let me turn this call down. Meta, not so much. Actually, setting up for a nice short here on Meta. Let's take a look at Google, also trading at new all-time highs. Let's check out Amazon. Took Amazon off this list because I was scarred on a bad trade that I did on it, and I didn't want to look at it anymore. Not trading at all-time highs, but very, very, very close, right? So we're seeing all of the major players in the market trading at all-time highs. Tomorrow, just like the boys in the stock floor told me today, NVIDIA earnings tomorrow, right? NVIDIA has been a massive runner in the last year and a half. It's been like, everyone said, if like Tesla goes down, the whole market goes down. But that was a few years ago. And now everyone's like, if freaking NVIDIA goes down, then the whole market's going to go down. But earnings tomorrow on NVIDIA. But if we just look at the chart and look at the pattern of the chart, this thing is set up to go way higher. But again, I don't want to jinx anything. We do have to wait for earnings, right? Earnings is high risk to trade through. But the chart itself is set up perfect and beautiful to go higher on NVIDIA, which is nice. Tesla is rallying, right? 6.66%, very, very devilish. We could hit to 144 EMA tomorrow, and that's when I'll start to dump off most of my position, and then see if I can hold a runner to touch the 200 SMA on the daily, right? So all things in my eyes are pointing for the market to go higher. And last bit of news before I let Fody kind of take over the Web3 part of the world is we have FOMC minutes tomorrow. So basically they're going to say, stuff about rate news, rate hikes, all that good stuff, which does have an impact on the market. So that's something to look out for, is that, hey, there is going to be some stock market volatility tomorrow. And that may or may not trickle down into the crypto market. But how will you guys know if it does? Just staying active in the chat room, asking us questions in the chat room, and asking questions just like Joy did. Great question again, did in the live. So I think that is my market update. Yeah, stocks, crypto, the whole shebang. Fody, what's up with Blast, man? Why do they keep, not our Blast, but what's up with Blast? Why do they keep delaying this airdrop?
Yeah, it can be a multitude of things. But
I feel like they're trying to hold our ETH a little bit longer because it's pumping.
Maybe. Who knows? Like I said, it could be a multiple. Who knows why people keep delaying? Maybe they just want to make sure all their systems are in place before they, do this massive airdrop, which it's going to be, and they want to make sure everything's perfect. It also has to do with gold distribution to make sure everything is added up correctly and distributed fairly. But yeah, I think it's going to be huge. And you should be accumulating as much gold as you possibly can right now.
I got 1 million points, baby.
There you go. So yeah, I mean, but that's that. Yeah, that's delayed till June. That, like I said, don't let off the gas on that. Some news in the crypto world. CryptoPunks just recently launched this kind of like art initiative, this internal art initiative. Think of art blocks and how they do project releases, like auction project releases that are curated by art blocks. But this time it's it's exclusive to CryptoPunk holders. They call it Punks in Residence. They recently got a ton of backlash for it because the first inaugural artist that they brought on released this project on there for an auction. And it was very kind of super edgy, very woke like, artistry that a majority of the community just absolutely hated. And they pulled that. Punks are doing just fine though. They are, they're up 5% right now, and that's guys, these punks are still $134,000. Ethereum NFTs are kind of showing a little bit of life right now. Milady Makers for some reason pumped 40% today, 35% over 7 days, and I have no idea why. That's like the one project. Okay. So yeah, that's the one project where I keep saying, and I'm sure Web3 Jackie in the audience knows because she's a Vermilio holder. It's a cult like following, and who knows what they're up to, but it's one of the strongest communities in Web3 by far. But yeah, if you guys didn't look at the list that I put of like NFTs that you should have been, possibly looking at to buy while they were down, and now some of them are starting to pump. So, all right, back to it. But yeah, like I said, yeah, I put a list in Alpha of NFTs that you should probably be accumulating while they are still cheap. And now we're starting to see some life in them. Soul NFTs are still down. However, the one of them that I posted, Mad Lads, is up 10 Soul from when I posted it. I think it was at like 54 Soul. So that's good. And then, guys, as far as airdrops go, make sure all these airdrops are starting to conclude. These airdrops that I've been posting months in the past, that we've been slowly working on, are starting to conclude and reward us. And I would hate for you guys to be left behind because you don't want to take full advantage of the Discord. So make sure you look at that. There's 2 airdrops in there that are pretty hype. There's Aether and there's Lingo, and then obviously there's another one, Sanctum, which is on Soul. These have and Liquidium on Bitcoin. These have very low barrier to entry to get started to start farming these. You don't need to put a ton of money in them. And we're pretty early to them. So make sure you guys are paying attention to that. As far as meme coins, I think, what happened last run, Arthur, like people started making money on on the main coins, which they're doing right now again. And I guarantee all that money is going to flood right back into the meme ecosystem, and memes are going to absolutely send it. What do you think, Arthur? Your mic's muted, by the way. On stream.
Yeah, I was saying, I think you're muted on Discord because they're hearing me via echo. But in terms of, I'm sorry, were you asking about memes for the crypto market or memes for the stock market?
I don't know how I'm muted on Discord because everything's set and I'm getting the green thing.
Oh, that's weird. I can't see the green thing. I don't know if I'm just tripping or not. So what was your question, Brody? I apologize, guys.
So like I was saying, people are making money right now in this like main coin rally, altcoin rally, and it's going to flood right back into memes, right?
Yeah, I mean the way that we've always seen it time and time again, right? If it always starts from the top, Bitcoin and ETH, trickles down to altcoins and then to memes, and then it like goes right backwards. It goes memes, altcoins, like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So when you have these people make all this money on these meme coins, right? Eventually these meme coins are all gonna rug, right? Like Donald Trump, Jay Poole, and all that stuff, right? All that money that was made off the memes needs to go back into the more like quote unquote smarter assets, which is like the good named altcoins of like the ones we just named off, Matic, Ondo, Gala, or obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum. So yeah, we definitely do see that money trickle right back into the bigger coins. Yeah, and we saw a lot of what was up with the pump just happening out of nowhere for all the president coins. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Jay Poole, they all pumped randomly out of nowhere. And it was right around when the GameStop AMC thing happened. And then there was a bunch of like Solana, GameStop, Solana, AMC coins that happened. But what I will tell you is so many people lost their shirts on AMC and GameStop this time around. They thought it was going to be the same thing all over again. If they thought it was going to be this whole long holding game, and again, dumb money gets pumped into the market and gets pulled away right away by the smart money. So be very careful with that. And just to kind of touch up on that and what I said a little bit earlier is what I've noticed this cycle is that the runs are happening and ending quicker. It's still great movements and great runs, but they're ending a lot quicker, right? So let's say we were used to like a 3-month pump. Well, now it's like a 2-month pump or like a 1.5-month pump. So always try to look at how things are trading and look at the quote unquote personalities of your favorite coins and your favorite stocks, because they all do have a personality, right? Just like Tesla can move 6-7% in a day, no problem. It's very rare that Apple moves over 3% in a day unless there's like some big catalyst for it. So keep an eye out on how fast these runs are happening, because I think the crypto landscape is slowly changing with all this institutional money coming in.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for Web3. Just like if you guys are concerned if NFTs are kind of dead, or, and I've said this before, or if Ethereum NFTs are dead, let's just look at the facts. Just to reiterate, over a 30-day span, Ethereum has more volume than Bitcoin, and so it ranks like this: Ethereum with the most volume, Bitcoin second, Solana third, and yeah, just make sure you guys are staying on top
Speaking
of
on
it.
that Ethereum more volume though, real quick before we let everyone off, you guys have been listening to my bias on Ethereum versus Bitcoin this year, and I stay by it and I stay true to it. And now it's starting to become a reality, right? I've been talking about this for a year and a half now, right? Because I've been so heavily invested into Ethereum myself. Is I strongly believe that Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin this year in terms of percentage on money and ROI. So my plan is to hodl Ethereum and then dump a lot of my Ethereum gains into Bitcoin and basically go from Ethereum maxi to Bitcoin maxi. So there's definitely more volume in ETH right now, just overall trading volume. If you don't believe me, just add the volume indicator onto your crypto charts and you'll see it for yourself. Way more volume pumped into ETH than Bitcoin, right? And then Bitcoin's big move happened because of the quote unquote ETF stuff, right? So if the ETH ETF gets approved, we should see a big move in Ethereum this year, guys. Something that I can't say the word recommend, but something that I do and I've recommended to my peers and to family and friends is to DCA whatever you can on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. Whether that's putting $5 a week in Bitcoin and $5 a week in Ethereum, or $20 a week in Bitcoin and Ethereum, or $50 a week in Bitcoin and Ethereum, whatever amount that you can afford to put into both of those assets every week, I think you guys will all thank me a year or two down the line. Whether it's $5 a week, $10 a week.
Honestly,
Right?
I think that's better than a 401k at this point. You know what I'm saying?
So if you guys
really
know,
do.
I used to promote something called Betterment because I used them so long. If that was my auto investing account for the stock market. And I would basically put, like $100 a week, $200 a week, and, just kept growing that. But I'd put money into Betterment every single week. And I started in 2019 and I grew like 49% on that account, which is fantastic. I think we'll see a lot bigger returns by doing that in the Ethereum and Bitcoin market, just putting a couple bucks a week. And there's even another app called Uphold that I've actually started to like more and more and more. They allow you to buy baskets of stuff. So if let's say here, I'll just go over the baskets that they offer with you guys. So they offer like baskets for like AI narrative coins. They offer baskets for like network coins, right? So like some of the baskets that you can buy is like the meme basket, right? There's a meme basket, there's an AI basket, there's the big three basket, there's an infrastructure basket. So like, let's say like you want to put $100, like spread across memes, right? So like I just clicked on the meme basket, right? And I can put $100 in and it'll spread that $100 out to Doge, SHIB, Pepe, with Floki and Bonk, right? Or like you could get into some of the better baskets that I think, like the AI baskets, which will put money in like Tau, AVAX, FET, RNDR. Should we pumping on RNDR right now, dog? Oh, we are pumping. RNDR, Ocean, NMR, right? So really cool baskets like infrastructure in the metaverse baskets, which I think this basket's kind of played out this year. This was a very 2021 narrative. Sand, Mana, Axiom, Vidity, Ape. God, Ape is such trash, I think. Gala and so on. I don't know how Apes eat even $1. The thing's garbage. Or like the finance coins or the future of Blockcoin. So anyway, long story short, guys, like I was telling you, it's our generation's time to get into Amazon day one, Apple day one, Google day one, Tesla day one, Monster Energy drink day one. It's our chance to get to that. And they're making it easier and easier and easier. And the app that I just told you, Uphold, that's actually where I do my auto investing myself, is you can just pick any amount to just put money in every week, guys. I'm telling you, like, this is the classic saying that I hate saying, is like, don't buy your Starbucks and put it into a freaking coin, right? So like, if there's no way that you can afford to put $10 a week into a coin, think about something that you can cut out, whether it's buying one less protein shake, one less coffee, or buying one less drink, whatever it is. I truly think the plan to long-term wealth here and less stressful wealth is to just obviously trade what we're trading here at Stock and Locked, and to just invest whatever you can every week into your favorite projects. With that said, guys, I think we are all done with the market update, and we're going to keep on working on our end and keep on bringing great projects and great trade ideas to you guys. Thank you guys for joining this week's market update.
See you.
See you, everybody.